Hey, and it's the governor, and we are back, VA. We're back with the power of the question. And in this chapter, thinking with the big head, the power of the question just helps us establish who we are by giving us the tools to go out to meet other people. And how this plays into the game deals with when you think about a sport. To become good at a sport, you have to be able to practice. And so in the game of life, you got to say, okay, there's things that I have to do in the game of life. There's things that I have to practice. I have to practice writing down how my day was so I can keep track of what's going on in my life, so I can mentally flush myself of a day's emotions or a day's events so I can properly put things in perspective. Because if I take the time to write my thoughts down, then it forces me to look at my thought and to analyze it in a way that it kind of makes me put it in a perspective before I put it on the paper. And so it just gives me this in-depth thought. And so this is something that I practice, and it becomes an exercise. Like, okay, if I'm a tennis player, I'm a basketball player. I'm gonna use basketball because I play basketball. If I'm a basketball player, I have to develop my whole game to be a great basketball player. So an exercise that I might do would be my free throws. So I practice my free throws. They're given. Everybody's like, how can you miss a free throw when you've been playing basketball all these years and you're just standing at the line and it's an easy shot? It's just like, how is it that I can't write in my journal every day? Like, it just takes a couple minutes, and it's just a book. I keep it with me. It's my little black book. I have to. The thinking with the big head says I have to have this. It's a necessity. And so every great man keeps a journal. How do you think they write their memoirs? How do you think they remember everything it is? Everybody has a journal. You're a great man. That's what you're. That's what we're all here to be. That's what we're using the thinking with the big head for, so we can be. We use our big head so that we can be great. And so we have a book. Practice. It's our exercise. It's our push-ups. Writing in the book. Well, the power of the question, our hows and our whats, who's, where's, when's, these things are our daily exercises. There are something that we practice every single day with every single person that we come in contact with. They're exercise. We understand it's just like a set of push-ups. Saying, hey, how are you doing? Hello, how are you doing? How is your day? How are you feeling? Is everything all right? How is the family? How are the kids? How is your mom? How is the job? How is the car? How is the dog? All of these things, they're push ups. And so if I do one push up, my chest will jump. I get a quick twinge in my muscle. I'm not going to get big. If you say, hey, how are you doing? Hello, how are you doing? You're going to get practice, but it's not going to help your development. But if you're like, hey, how are you doing? Or you're not feeling well, what's wrong? Well, when did this problem start? What do you think might be the source of it? Now you're using the power of your questions, and you're using this exercise. So now instead of doing one push-up, you're doing 10 push-ups. And because you did this 10 times during the daytime, you've done 10 sets of push-ups. Now your chest is a little bit bigger. Now you're after a couple of weeks, now you're starting to see some development in your chest. What you're starting to see now is some development in your character. Hey, I got now people, I don't even know why people automatically assume that I'm a caring person. Why do they think that? Oh, they think that because I take the time to ask. I asked the question, how are you doing? I genuinely meant, how are you doing? How did I show that I genuinely meant how are you doing? By listening to you, by reading, by communicating, by looking at your body language. If you have Asperger's, just use your ears and just continue to practice. Okay, I follow up a how with a what, then a when, then a why. Kind of like, okay, when I'm playing video games, this is for my video game players. When I'm playing my video games, to make the move, I have to press up, down, left, right, circle, right trigger, left trigger, button, button. It's the same thing. Up is a how, what is a down, a Y is a left. Like that's how it comes. And so each person is how, what, when, where, why. And then I get a chance. What will end up happening, the power of the question, what we will start to learn and understand is by exhibiting this behavior, what's going to happen, it's going to be reciprocated. So I'm going to ask this person, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing well. How are you doing? I am doing XYZ. And why is this important? Because what we will get to understand is if I'm not doing well, if I do have a problem, this is a perfect opportunity for me to find a solution. This is a perfect opportunity for me to find a way to make my situation better. Why? Because a person just asked me, how am I doing? And I'm just answering the question. I'm just telling them I'm not doing well. And because they know me to have the nature to ask, how are you doing? And when I ask them, how are they doing? And they tell me they're not doing well, I know and they know that I have a nature to ask them, well, what is wrong? And when I'm asking them, what is wrong? I'm using my hows and whats because I'm in the back of my mind thinking, is there a way that I can help this person? Why? If I help this person, I'm getting better. Why am I getting better? Because it's obvious that for me to help this person, if they can't solve the problem by themselves and I help them, I just gave them something that only I could have given them, obviously, because if they could have already had it, they would have had it already. So I can get a chance to give it to them, and boom, that's like a touchdown. That's like a point. That's not necessarily for that person, but for life in the game. I just used my purpose. I just became better. Now I just racked up some points, and somehow the universe is going to pay me for that. That's those karma credits. That's just me doing what it is that I do to be better in life. And in return, life is better to me. How do I get to that point? Using my hows and whats. And I get better with them. I'm not good at this, Gov. I don't like talking to people. Well, I don't like doing push-ups. I didn't like them at first. Like, oh man, I hate push-ups. Now I got all different. I do them like this. I do them like this. I sometimes get on the table and do them. Sometimes I put my feet in a chair and do them. Sometimes I do them against a wall. Sometimes I put my hands in chairs and go down in between them. Whole point of this is by practicing, working it until I realized I have to do this. I have to do this if I wanna, you know what I mean? If I wanna look like that, I wanna look like that, and I don't wanna have to go get the gym equipment. I don't wanna have to buy no weights. I just boom. I don't I don't wanna learn how to have full blown conversations. Gov, I don't wanna have to learn how to actually talk to people. So what Gov is teaching me is the push-up. The push-up is how, when, what, where, why. What I learned how to do is, and reciprocation, I just keep my answers. If I'm not a big socializer, I'm not a big talker, I'm not a big communicator, I just keep my answers brief. I just keep them short. But what I've done is I've shown concern. I've practiced. And over the course of years and the course of development, you'll just get better. And guess what? If you keep your journal and you're mindful, you practice them in combination. It's kind of like this. Okay? If you think back to Mortal Kombat, right? Remember how Mortal Kombat started where you had to learn how to do your special move, and then as Mortal Kombat developed, you were able to do combos and to finish him. And so the combos and the finish him, those all took more and more of this, but they were all based upon the same platforms. What you will start to learn is you can use your how, what, whens, and wheres to develop a pattern to where you meet people and you're able to gain information, and you take that information, you combine it with your journal, and so you take the information that you learned on the day from your talking to people, put it in the journal, and now you've learned it. Like, it happened, and so you thought about it in the course of the happenings, and you took the information in. Later on that day, you thought about the information, you wrote it down. Over the course of writing it down, you were thinking about it. You might have checked it, proofread it, made sure it was okay, so that means you read it. Later on in the future, when you finish that journal, you're going to go back and you're going to reread it, and then you're going to relearn it. And guess what that means? You've just gained all of this power. Why? Knowledge is power. All you did was gain power because you did push-ups. Think about, what does a push-up do? If I do some push-ups, I'm going to look like this. But what does looking like this mean? I'm strong. I got some power. Yes, knowledge is power. And how do you get knowledge? You learn some stuff. How do you learn some stuff? You ask some questions. There we go. That's what the power of the question is teaching us. That, hey, I can show how smart I am, not by me answering questions, because people are gonna be like, oh man, you're a show off. Because I'm just spewing off information, I'm just talking, I'm just showing my knowledge. But how I can show how smart I am is being creative in what it is that I know, to ask questions that are targeted, so that the person understands that I know a little something, and that I recognize that they know a little something, and because I know a little something and they know a little something, and I'm asking them questions, and I'm taking the time to want to learn from them, and I'm not just a complete dumbass. They're willing to say, they're really willing to bestow this information upon me, and they're willing to let me into them. What we will start to learn is, okay, if I meet a person, right, and I ask them questions, right, and I get good with my hows and whats, like Gov teaches me in Thinking with the Big Head, and I get good, and what means by I get good is I know how to target these hows and whats to gain the information that is precious. Like, if a person is an archaeological dig, I use my hows and whats in a way to find the jewels of that person, those gems, because we know knowledge and wisdom is more precious than diamonds and rubies and all of that. So I'm looking for the precious knowledge and wisdom that this person has. Well, guess what? If knowledge and wisdom is power, right? And you take time to ask these questions, right? Now, you can take time to ask these questions about things that a person knows about and experienced, in a manner where you can gain power as far as knowing how to now govern yourself when these type of things happen, or to do these type of things. Or you can use your hows and whats to ask questions about that person and know gems about the actual person, who they are. Why is this important? Real quick, why is this important? Think about it. I just got knowledge and wisdom about who you are. You, yourself, you. Knowledge of you. If I have knowledge of you, and I do this in the big head manner, I can take this knowledge and have power over you. And not when I use this word power over you, what I mean by that is, this is the key to, if you're smart, if you want to show what it is that you know to an individual and you want them to listen to you, this is how you do it. With the power of the question, your hows and whats, and practicing, this is how you do it. By asking, you're gaining this knowledge. and wisdom. You're gaining this power. This person is giving it to you. They're giving you themselves. And so what will happen is, because you gain this knowledge of them and you understand that it's just a natural process, that if you ask enough questions, the person is then going to reciprocate the process by asking you, well, how do you feel? Or what do you think? Or XYZ. And once they ask you for your opinion, if you use your knowledge and your opinion and how you govern the conversation, then the person will take what it is that you say and apply it to their own lives. What you said, they'll listen to. And if they do it, then you had influence or power over their life. You had power. I told somebody what to do, and they did it. They had a problem. I told them what to do. They solved it, and now I have power. And if you begin to govern yourself, people will begin to rely on you for these things. You begin to establish relationships that mean something, because they are developed on what it is that you know, and what it is that you know can only grow. You can't lose it. Especially if you're using your journal and you're writing it down, so you're hitting them with the two-piece combo. Like, shoo, shoo. Asked you your hows and whats, coming back over here because I'm doing my basketball moves. I asked you your hows and whats, so that was the crossover. Here you come with, well, what do you think? So I hit you with another crossover. I pull out, I tell you what I think, then I pull out my journal, and then I go back to it and I use it as a reference. Hey, I knew this great person. I read this great book. I had learned this thing one time, and there was this quote. Let me find it here. I wrote it down because it was so important. I was talking to somebody. They told it to me when I was asking my hows and whats, and I just remembered it, and it's perfect for this situation. Here it is. Boom. I'm using my journal. Boom. Next thing you know, got power. I'm a better person. This person likes me. This person wants to be around me. This person respects me, loves me. Why? I use my hows and whats. I show concern. I use my knowledge. I gain power. And now I am the man off the power of hows and whats. Practice. Boom. See that? See that? See that? Yeah. See that? See that right there? Yeah. Push up. That's it. That's it. Push up. How? Gov, how do you know all of this stuff about people? How do you know this? I just asked them. Just ask them. And so, because you stayed tuned and you listened and you were attentive and taking notes, I'm going to give you this jewel. This is a jewel that I want you to take with you from the power of the question. The jewel is this. Regardless of what a person may say out their mouth, and if you learn to read body language, you would know whether or not they're telling you the truth or not. But no matter what a person may think, if you ask them a question, their brain can only solve it or make an effort to solve it. They can't help but answer the question in their mind. Have you cheated on me? Whether or not you're going to say yes or no, your brain has already answered the question. Do you know what 2 plus 7 is? It's 9. I just answered it. My brain just automatically answered it. If you ask me what is E equal MC squared, what does that mean? If I don't know what it means, I may say I don't know what it means, but even after it, I'm going to just think, what does it mean? I may not tell you, but in my mind, I still have to think about it. What you will learn when you master the power of the question is to be able to leave a long-lasting thought with a person without having to tell it to them. Because when you tell people things, they can reject it. They can reject it. They can block it out. I didn't hear that. But when you ask them a question, what you understand is that they can't help but answer it. And so what will happen is long past when they answer the question, whether or not they can answer the question, whether or not they want to answer the question, none of those things matter. What's going to matter is the thought that's going to be there that's going to say, why did they ask me that? What is it that they know that made them ask me that question? Why? And that's what you're waiting for. That's your purpose. Like you will come to understand in this grand scheme of things in life that you asking that question at that time, you are fulfilling a purpose in life that is so monumental, not just for yourself, but for that other person. Because you do these things, you'll be great. How, whens, what's, where's, why's, practice. It's hard, God. Yo, look, when I do push ups, it's hard. It hurts sometimes. Afterwards, I don't want to lift nothing up. In the morning time, I'm like, it hurts. It hurts. But because I've thought with my big head, I just tell the lady that's been sitting beside me, hey, rub me down. Doesn't even matter. I'm a stranger. Give me a say, hey, excuse me, madam. You see this? You know how I got this? I just did some push-ups. Man, my shit hurt. I don't mean to be rude. I'm not trying to. Man, can you hit it or something? Yes. You know what? I don't even know you, sir, but I'll help you. I'll help you. You're in pain. Hey, did you see what I did? Do you mind? It hurts. Can you please? You start to understand that before you get to can you please, because that's what you're gonna need to end up doing with your teammates is asking them for stuff. They're your team. That's how you make moves. We work together. They ask you to do stuff. You ask them to do stuff. How do we get to that point? To just the power of the question just makes it easier for you to say, "Will you please?" or "Can you please?" or "May you please?" or you know, thinking with the big head always tells you it's better to be a gentleman. Yes, you can be an asshole. We already addressed in thinking with the big head that you know shit attracts flies. If you take a shit, you go outside right now and take a shit, some flies will come around. So you could be an asshole, but because of what you know or whatever, people will be around you because of who you are or whatever in life. But you're gonna stink. You're some shit. Or flip the script. If I go outside in the same spot that I was gonna take a shit, if I take a big jar of honey and just dump it right there, just take a big jar of honey, whole bunch of flies are gonna come. Flies are gonna come, ants are gonna come, some birds might come, man, some squirrels and shit, man, all different types of things are gonna come. Are some flies gonna come? Yes. Just like if you took a shit outside, some flies would come. So you just have to decide in life, do I want to be some shit? I can still be some shit, still be a dick face cockmaster and use my hows and whats. But I'm a dick face cockmaster. Hey, how you doing? How things coming along? Why? Because we understand the power of the question. We understand that people are, regardless, they're still going to answer the question. And because you're so persistent in your hows and whats that they're gonna just give you the information regardless. Because not everybody is doing this. This is what makes you different and unique. Now you can eat, hey, how you doing? Hey, girl, what your name is? Hey, how you feel today? What your sign is? Hey, this, that, and the third. Or we can be honey. How are you doing today, man? Excuse me, madam. You feeling okay? Could you please? Would you please do that for me? Like, if you find that as being weak, you're just a fool. It's called being civilized. It's called being debonair. It's called. You don't have to. You could be a big manly man and have manners. You could be manners supersedes that. Trust me, man. It'll work for you. But with that, it was 25 minutes. It was long, yes, because we covered something that was powerful. The question is powerful. The question is powerful because of what it gives you. What do you get when you get from asking questions? You get knowledge. Just on the flip side, this is also why it's important to read, because we also go into be mindful of what questions that you ask, because you may not be ready for that information. If you don't want the answer to the question, don't ask the question. If you don't think that you're going to be able to govern yourself off the information that you're going to receive, don't ask the question. Plain and simple. If you don't think that you can govern yourself, if you ask a woman, hey, are you cheating? If you already know she's cheating, then when she tells you that you're cheating, don't go govern yourself like you didn't know she was cheating. Now you're acting like an old bitch. Act like a man. If you know that she's cheating, govern yourself accordingly. And instead of asking her the question, because what you will end up looking for is for her to ask you, well, why are you acting such a way? And then you would just tell her, I think that you're cheating. And then when she goes to ask you, why do you believe that? You don't tell her why. You ask her, why did she do that? Why did you do certain things that would lead me to think that you were cheating? So I know that you sucked dude off, but how did I find out that you knew that you sucked dude off? Well, I found out through your girlfriend, and your girlfriend told me that you were texting him and this, that, and the third. So what I do is I just ask questions. Where were you this day? Who is such and such? Who is this? I don't say anything. I just ask the question and watch how they answer. Like, that's the genius of the game, because what we understand with thinking with the big head is that this is a mind game, because we're dealing with women. Women, you have to deal with them up here. And since you don't want to verbally argue with them, they're going to be the one that talks themselves in a circle. You already know what time it is. But because you've mastered the game, because you've decided to play on the all Madden level, regardless of what level you're playing in, and that's just how you govern yourself. You govern yourself by, instead of saying, bitch, I knew you were sucking such a duck, you tell me. I ask you questions. I don't let you in on what it is that I know, because I'm like, you know that I know something based upon what it is that I ask, and now you want to know, but you're so, and I play this game. It's all a game. You're the man. You're the predator and the prey, baby, and you're playing, and you're not governing yourself by natural instinct. You're governing yourself with the big head. When you see somebody, you know more than to just say, hey, how are you doing? That's just one push-up. You're going for 10 push-ups. You want to go, hey, how are you doing? What you up to? How's the family? Who, what, when, where, why? You, your mom, your dad, your pet. How's the car? How's that thing that it is that I know that you like? By doing this, just shows that you care, shows that you're listening, shows that you're concerned. These things help you develop your character. These things help speak volume about you. These things will help you learn. Help you learn people. Help you learn where to go to get solutions to problems, because it'll help you learn who knows what and who's been through what and how. And it opens the door for communication. And you understand that, okay, I want to tell somebody something, but I don't know how to tell it to them. I really want to tell it to them, and I know they're not interested, so how can I get them to get interested, to be interested? I just ask them some questions so that they can return the favor, so then I can get what it is that I want, what is to get this off my chest. Like, I really want to get this off my chest, but for me to get this off my chest, it's a process. Just like if I want to do push-ups and I want to be effective doing push-ups, I want it to look like this. I want to look like this. I want to be able to do this. So I have to do push-ups, but I also know that I have to stretch. I have to stretch first. Uh, 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 all of that to make the push-ups more effective. So if my goal is I need to get something off my chest, I hurry up, go through my who, what, when, what, where, wait for the person to reciprocate. Boom. Now I'm into my exercise of sharing what is going on in my life in hopes of finding a solution or finding a different perspective or finding someone that can show me somewhere or know someone or know something that I can go to, because I understand that that's what people are for in life. I'm just mindful. I use my mind, common sense to be mindful, to know who I'm asking these questions to, though. And so I just don't ask, Well, I mean, you don't want to judge a book by a cover because you don't necessarily know what it is that that person may know, but you just have to take what it is that they tell you with the judgment of the character, so that you don't find yourself doing things that are outside of what it is that you know, what it is that is not yourself. So when a person tells you something as a suggestion or how to do something, what you look at it as, either this is a possible way that I can do it, or this is just another way that I know that I can't do it or I shouldn't do it. Like, this person may tell me things and I'm like, I didn't think of that, but just in case I did think about it, I don't have to worry about thinking about it, because I know those are things that I wouldn't do, and I know why I wouldn't do them, but I recognize it, and so I know that I don't want to make that mistake because I hear it coming from somebody else. I hear it coming from a different perspective. I hear the different outcomes from possibly doing it that way, and that's not really the solution or that I'm looking for. So that's what you're taking. That's the process that you use as you take in this information. You weigh it on how, whether it's something that I can do, and the options of how I can use my method or what it is, or my teammates to, because it may not be something I personally could do, but somebody on my team could do it because they have the attributes to do it. And so I just take that knowledge, because that's what it is sometimes. You will ask a person questions and they'll give you information that you might not necessarily need for yourself per se. You need it for yourself because it adds to the plethora of things that you can draw upon. But what you're able to do is take that knowledge directly over to somebody that's on your team or somebody that you know over here, and use it as a way to have an influence, as a way to have assistance, or a way to shine light or love or give it to a person, because you're like, damn, they were having a problem with this shit, and now somebody over here just told me the answer, and because I tell them the answer, it just makes me have more purpose in their life, and it shows that nothing is for a reason. You told me your problem for a reason, because I was meant to talk to this person to bring it back to you, and now I'm winning in life. I have purpose. So with that being said, that's the power of the question, what it can do for you, how you can use it, how we need to be mindful. And with that, VA the governor, got international governor game. Power up.